So the assets have been seized. A percentage of Putin's wealth is now seized and frozen, but it's not enough to slow him down, and he only has one choice anyways.
Well, so here's the elephant in the room, which is that we've frozen 350 billion of central bank reserves. We've frozen the oligarchs. We got sanctions on Sberbank and Vneshtorg Bank and all this kind of stuff, all good, on Gazprom. But one of the things we don't do is we continue to buy Russian oil and gas to the tune of $1 billion a day. So, I mean, if you think about it as a business person, we've dealt with his savings. The savings are all tied up. I mean, he doesn't have easy access to his savings. So the balance sheet is not in great shape. But the income statement, he earns $1 billion a day. And he spends $1 billion a day killing Ukrainians. And as long as the West continues to buy $1 billion a day of oil and gas, he can run this murderous war into perpetuity.
Can the West afford not to buy that gas and oil?
Yeah, I think there's other people we can buy oil and gas from, but there's one possible saving grace from this whole thing, which has nothing to do with any government policy, which is we're going into a nasty recession. Interest rates are going to go up farther than anyone will be comfortable with. All of a sudden, your mortgage will be double what you thought it was before, triple. And at the same time, they're probably not going to raise them high enough to contain inflation, so everything will be expensive. And as a result of that, we're going to go into a recession. And what happens during recessions? The oil price drops. And if the oil price were to drop to $30 or $40, which is entirely possible in a nasty recession, then he's pretty much out of business.
Mm. There's a great book about Reagan's Secretary of Defense. I forgot the name of it, but he was going around the world trying to lobby to get the price of oil down and talking to the Saudis because they knew every dollar it dropped, it was making Russia weaker and weaker and weaker. And ultimately helped crush them.
And that's what crushed them.
Right.
It was $10 a barrel.
Yeah.
It wasn't Star Wars or anything like that.
Yeah.
It was
cash flow.
Yeah. And so everything always comes back to money.
Right. Isn't that crazy? And so Magnitsky Act, maybe just to finish out on that, you started doing this in 2009, got it approved in 12 and 14, kind of in America and Canada, and then it...
So America was 2012.
Yeah.
Global Magnitsky Act in 2016.
Okay.
Canada in 2017. UK in 2018. European Union in 2020. Australia in 2021. And then a whole bunch of little countries in between.
Is this your full-time job?
Yeah.
Okay. And what's your metric of success of the Magnitsky Act, and how would you explain it to an economics student or a political science student the freshman year at Stanford where you went, or Chicago? How would you explain this case study? Was it more effective than we ever imagined? Was it extremely effective? Will it become more effective? Have there been problems?
Well, so the basis behind this is really simple. That if a terrible person with no morals and no respect for the law is given a choice, you can do some terrible stuff and benefit from it, make money, whatever. Nothing will stop that person from doing terrible things. If the person is then faced with the benefit of the reward of doing something terrible on one hand, and a possible huge sanction which will destroy their lives on the other hand, then there's a weighing that goes on in their mind. And so the Magnitsky Act is all about creating a terrible consequence for a person who's thinking about doing some atrocity. And at the moment, the Magnitsky Act now exists in a lot of places. It's starting to be used, not aggressively, but starting to be used. About 500 people and entities are sanctioned in the United States. But in order to make this truly powerful, it's got to be used in like 20,000 cases. Why in 20,000? Because at that point, people will start to think, bad guys will start to think, you know what, it's just not worth it because I can make all this money from torturing these people or whatever, but I'm not going to be able to spend it because it's all going to be frozen and I'm not going to be able to travel anywhere. And the probability is high that that's going to happen. And so my goal is to get this piece of legislation in place and get it used so that the probability of these bad guys, of these dictators and kleptocrats, getting into trouble is so high that they or the people below them just don't want to act on their orders. And then it becomes an unbelievably powerful instrument.
Okay. So it hasn't hit scale yet, as they say in Silicon Valley. No network effect yet. Well, you've had some serious success with it. And even maybe you have been surprised at how effective it is. I think the world has.
Well, first of all, I mean, the probability of getting a law passed in the United States is zero. You could win a $750 million lottery more likely than getting a law passed. I mean, it's just, to have a guy like me just show up and get a law passed, and to get a law passed in 35 countries, I mean, it just doesn't happen. Right. And so, yeah, this is like so far beyond anyone's wildest expectations. But, I don't sort of say, wow, I'm really good, Bill, that I did this. I'm saying, okay, so now we have this. How can we make this really super powerful? And so, I'm looking ahead, not behind.
The greedy bankers are about to do it again. In 2008, they crashed our financial system and nearly bankrupted the entire global economy. Then they received trillions of dollars in government bailouts. And after, they demanded fat bonuses paid for by you, the taxpayer.
It turns out the banks haven't just been screwing the American taxpayers, they're also screwing over their investors. Turns out the banking industry is the worst place you could put your money, despite enormous taxpayer bailouts.
Now the bankers are back to take away your financial freedom. They lie and tell you that cryptocurrency isn't safe. They try to make it illegal for you to choose how to invest your hard-earned money. They lie and say cryptocurrency is used by money launderers and criminals. But look at the record. It's the banks themselves that launder hundreds of billions of dollars every year to the biggest criminal operations in the world.
Leaked documents have revealed how some UK banks have helped criminals, money launderers and Russians under sanctions.
American authorities discovered that the Sinaloa cartel moved $881 million through HSBC accounts as bank officials turned a blind eye to the illegality.
The bankers lie and say cryptocurrency is not a real investment. Meanwhile, the smartest CEOs in the world are buying billions and billions of it. The truth is that banks lie about cryptocurrency because it makes them scared. The banks take $9 trillion per year of your hard-earned money, and they are worried that they will finally be exposed. They're scared because crypto means they can no longer control your money, which means they can no longer control you. They are scared because you might actually understand your money and intelligently decide what to do with it. Now is the time for us to come together, fight back, and take control. It's time to educate ourselves, our families, and our communities. Because financial education means financial freedom. We know that cryptocurrencies will help us build the new decentralized financial system of the future. A banking system that is of the people, by the people, and for the people. A banking system where access to finance is a fundamental human right. A banking system that is free and fair and welcomes all humans on this earth. The DeFi revolution is happening. We, the people, can no longer be fooled. We choose to take control of our finances. We choose to take control of our freedom. We choose to take control of our future. Join us, and let's take back our financial freedom forever.